Good evening. It's now 5:30 p.m., Monday, September 30th, 2019. I'm calling this meeting of the City Council of Paris to order. Being as this is a special session, we, according to the new law, we now have a citizens forum. So I'll open this. The citizens forum will be included. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes, unless an item is posted on the agenda. The Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. Anyone wishing to address the council, please step up, give us your name and address, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name's Lyle Edwards. I live at 205 East Houston Street, and I have put my hat in for the LCAD board position that's open. I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me. I've lived in Paris. I've lived in Lamar County about 30 years. I've lived in Paris about 7. I've been in the real estate business, both commercial and residential construction, and also as a property owner for about 30 years in this area. So I have an accounting degree from East Texas State University, worked for myself. So, and I have kids that are in North Lamar School District, grandkids, I'm sorry. Grandkids are in North Lamar School District. So I understand, you know, a lot of both sides of the issue that we have with property taxes. I know it's statewide, it's a big deal, countywide, the school districts and everything. So I would like to throw my hat in the ring to be on that board. I really believe that I could contribute to that. I think some of the things that have gone over the last year, I really think that a stabilizing hand in there, I think I could be that. So I would appreciate any support that you guys give me, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council in open session? Seeing none, I will close the Citizens Forum. This brings us to item number 3, discuss and act on a resolution nominating and casting all of the City of Paris's votes for a member to serve on the 2020-2021 Board of Directors of the Lamar County Appraisal District.
Every 2 years, the city has to provide a nominee to the appraisal district who they want to appoint to the board. The current term expires at the end of this year. The number of votes that the city has and the other entities have is determined by a formula based on their levy, and the city has 627 votes that it can cast, and the council just needs to pick who they want to appoint, and that's how many votes you'll in effect be casting.
Okay. All right, I'll open up for discussion. Yep.
Oh.
You make a nomination? Yeah.
I was going to, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
I'd like to nominate Ken Coles. He is our current representative, served 2 years. He's done a good job of keeping the city informed when there's been things that we needed to know about. He's met with our city manager several times and kept him informed.
Okay.
This is for one spot?
It's for one slot for casting all our votes. So we put one person on there, and then that person is represented by our votes. I think what 5
Yeah,
entities?
there are 5 total members, and normally, based on the number of votes, PISD ends up with a person on the board. North Lamar does, Lamar County does. Chisholm, Prairie Land, and Roxton combine their votes to pick somebody, and then the city has the 5th one.
So you say that person votes for the city. Now, do they interact with us to find out what we want, or how do they make their decision?
Well, how that works, we're allowed to nominate somebody to be on the board, you know, and they hear all the issues and stuff, and they act, you know, based on their judgment. But certainly, if we want to give them some input, they'll consider it. But basically, once we put them on the board, they're kind of their own person, just like, you know, you're elected to the council and you make decisions based on what you think's right, and they normally will do the same thing. But they tend to be attentive if we have a particular issue, but normally we don't have to give them, you know,
If
instructions.
we have something that we're
If there's a matter
concerned
of
about,
concern,
yeah.
yeah, we can certainly make him aware of what our feelings are on that issue.
we can, yeah, discuss
But
it with him, but we have no direct control
We
yet.
can't compel him to vote one way or the other.
We got one nomination. I'll nominate Lyle Edwards for, as well, so. Any other nominations? Okay, any discussion on this before we vote? We can have a discussion.
You know, do we have to vote today on it, or?
Yeah, we kind of, it has to be by October 14th, for sure. And so we're going to vote today to get it done.
I'm good.
Everybody good? Okay, well,
Y'all nominated two different people, right?
yeah, there's two different people, and I'm supporting Mr. Edwards. I appreciate the work Mr. Coles has done. Mr. Coles is currently serving on building and standards, is that? Yeah, for several years. Mr. Edwards had tried to get on some boards, and we didn't put him on, but I'd like to get him involved as well. He does seem to have some expertise in this, so that's why I'm supporting him. So, all right, any other comments? If not, let's, which one do we want to vote on first?
Mr. Coles was nominated first, so.
Okay, all in favor of Mr. Coles? All in favor of Mr. Edwards? Okay. All right, Mr. Edwards has been getting, will be our representative on the board. Next is discuss and act on proposals which we need to receive from executive search firms regarding city manager recruitment services. I understand that Chris Hartung is going to do the first presentation. Step up, please, sir. Thank you. And thanks for coming.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you this afternoon and talk about a very, very important decision which this city council will be making over the next several months. Chris Hartung Consulting is a firm that works primarily with local governments. We work in a number of different areas, as you can see from this transparency. Training and organizational development, primarily recently executive recruitment and selection. I think that obviously the most important decisions that most organizations make is who's going to be a part of that organization, and certainly in the case of council manager form of government, the person that's going to be the chief executive officer is a real critical decision that affects communities for a number of years into the future. And so we're proud to be involved in that particular part of the government of cities in the state of Texas primarily. We've been involved with a range of size cities, from very small cities up to cities as large as the city of Dallas, and a lot of different things, number of North Texas areas, cities that we've been involved with over the last several years. We've also been involved in a number of other areas of executive search, key department heads for cities, and primarily in Texas. Some recent executive search assignments that we've conducted include these cities: Del Rio, Fair Oaks Ranch, which is a suburb of the city of San Antonio, Aransas Pass. That was interesting. We finished that 30 days before Hurricane Harvey hit. The new city manager hadn't even gotten on the job yet, but he did come and is helping them rebuild. Ennis, Hillsborough, and Woodway. My background is from executive search, a number of different areas. I'm also on the faculty of the Bill Blackwood Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas. That's a program that's run by Sam Houston State University. The program that I'm involved with is conducted at Texas Woman's University in Denton, Texas. I'm also the faculty of the Certified Public Manager Program in Texas. I've done a number of programs over the last 15 or 16 years in Arlington, and more recently have been involved with the program in the Austin area, San Marcos, and Round Rock. And we've been a speaker at a number of different various professional organizations. My city management background actually started when I was in college. I wound up with a job at the city of Dallas, and that's really where I learned about the council manager form of government. Later, I went to work for the city of Garland, was with the city of Garland for 10 years, wound up as assistant city manager in Garland, and then went from Garland to Denton and spent 8 years as city manager of Denton. So I have almost 20 years management of local government organizations in addition to the consulting that we've been doing for the recent past. I think this particular slide has the most important point that I would make to you this evening. The best predictor of success in a position is past success in the same or a similar position. I know there's all kinds of things out there about what predicts success, whether it's where they went to school, where they worked, where they grew up, what kind of personality traits they have. But I think, in fact, the best predictor of success, in fact, I might argue the only predictor of success in a position is past success in the same or a similar position. So my whole philosophy and the approach that I have in a search like this is to use that as a guide. And so what does that mean? Initially, it involves developing a very detailed profile of the position to try to define what is it that we need now in this community today in terms of background, qualifications, personal characteristics, experiences that would make somebody a good fit for this community. And then the balance of the search is intended to try to develop a pool of finalists for this council to interview that would meet that profile. I think those two pieces are the real critical parts of a search like this. What are we looking for in terms of that profile, and then can we put together a pool of applicants that would fit that profile? In order to develop that profile, I get involved in a lot of interviews. Typically, I interview the individual council members. Many times they'll have me interview key members of the staff. I've had city councils that wanted me to really understand the community, and they've had me interview people from the community to try to understand what the key issues that new city manager is going to have to deal with once they've been selected. We pulled together a lot of information. We pulled together pictures that we can use for the brochure. We need to develop an advertising piece as we move forward for the future next steps in the process. And then this last item down here, initial priorities. One of the things that I like to put into a profile is a section that I call initial priorities or something like that. And it's the 4, 5, or 6 initial priorities that the consensus of the council members have indicated they would want the new manager to pay attention to in the first 12 to 24 months of employment. I think that's a real critical part of that brochure because in fact, I get a lot of positive comments from candidates about it because it really helps them understand what they're going to be focusing on in that first 12 to 24 months of employment. Quick story, I had a call from a fellow that was a candidate for a position, and he had withdrawn in the middle of the search because he had taken another job. Well, about 6 months later, he called me, which is kind of unusual, but he just called me and complimented me on the way I'd handled search and the way I'd treated him. And he said he particularly liked the initial priorities part of the profile. And then he went on to say he wished that the place that he had gone to work for had had the same kind of a thing in their profile. Oh, some problem, I guess. But I really do get a lot of very positive comments from the candidates about that particular piece of the profile. Once we have that, Then we move into the solicitation phase, and advertising. We will make sure that this position is advertised in all the key professional organizations that city manager types would be a part of or looking for. We will develop a brochure, which is an advertising piece that we would be sending out as we go through the solicitation piece, sending out to potential candidates and also people that might know of potential candidates. The city management profession is kind of a niche profession, and I've found that ZipRecruiter and some of these big private sector search engines really don't get at those particular candidates, that most of them are looking at the professional organizations that they're a part of. And so I think having the advertising focus on the profession is very important. The city management profession is going through a major demographic shift right now. The baby boomers, frankly, have been dominating the profession for a long time, and they're all heading for the hills. They're retiring, and there's not enough coming behind, unfortunately, to fill all the spots that are available. There's still good candidates out there. There's still people that have good experience. There's just not as many of them as there might have been a few years ago. And so it really does mean that you have to really focus on the profession, the leaders in the profession, to try to identify the candidates that fit the profile that the city council will approve as we move forward. My role in that solicitation phase is to do that networking and outreach. That's what I do. I get on the phone, I get on my computer, email, et cetera, and contact people that I know around the state and region or nationally as directed by the city council to make sure that we get the information about the position out to those potential candidates. A lot of times, the best candidates aren't really in the market. They're happy, they have a job, they're happy where they are, and they really aren't even looking at ads. And so you have to go beyond the ads. You have to really have that networking outreach to try to get to those candidates and get the information to them, even though they might be in a position that they are happy with. If you present them with the right opportunity in the right way, they can be become interested in it. And I think this one point in the middle here also is another key point. Many times, almost always, the decision to apply for a position means that you're going to be thinking about relocation in the public sector, at least with the city manager positions. And many times that means that it's a family decision as much as it is a career decision. And so we always want to try to present the opportunity not only as a good job opportunity for the applicants, but also the community as a good place to live. And I think that you have to package the position that way to try to make sure that you're reaching out with the right information. The next step in the process is to screen candidates. We go through an initial process to eliminate those candidates that obviously don't meet the minimum qualifications, don't meet the profile. Try to narrow the group down to a more manageable group. Typically that might mean 12 to 15, in some cases maybe 20 applicants that you want to get some additional information for. And in that case, then we would send to those candidates a questionnaire. The questionnaire has some generic questions on it just to make sure that we have the same information about all the applicants, but it will also have some specific questions that are pulled from the profile that the council adopts, so that we're getting specific information about the applicant's background and experiences in areas that the city council will be concerned about. Once we have those questionnaires in, typically that would be the first time that I would meet with the council, go over the results of the questionnaire, talk about the pool of candidates that we have. Would also make you aware of all of the applicants at that point, so you'd know all of the applicants that had applied for the position. And if you have questions about why we didn't go forward with someone particularly, I'd be happy to try to respond to those questions as well. Hopefully, out of that meeting with the council, we would be able to narrow the group down a little bit further, probably to 8 to 10 to 12, what I'd call at this point semifinalists. We would invite those semifinalists to participate in two things. One would be a video interview, which they would do. We have an arrangement to have pre-recorded questions that they would respond to, typically 9 to 10 questions that would be oriented around your profile. We would ask them to complete those answers to those questions. I would also, during this same period of time, be conducting a telephone interview with those applicants to get additional information so that I'm comfortable that I'm fully understanding their background and experiences for this position. Once those two things are completed, I would send, well, even before my part is finished, once they've completed their video interviews, I will send you all a link to the video interviews so you can look at those on your own time, at your discretion, and have an opportunity to get a view of the applicants. I wouldn't ever hire anybody off of a video interview, but I think you can certainly use that as a tool to begin to narrow further the pool of applicants. Again, once we finish that, once you've had a chance to look at the video interviews, once I've completed my interviews, then we would meet again, and hopefully at that meeting, we'd be able to narrow the group down to the 4, 5, or 6 applicants that you're going to invite to Paris to be interviewed by the City Council. I say 4 to 6. I like to have at least 4. There's a lot of competition in the market right now, and if you have less than 4, if you lose one to somebody else during the process, then you really are don't have quite enough to fill the interview process. If you get above 6, it becomes it's a time thing for you, and then also if we're bringing people in from out of town, it can become more expensive to do that. And so it seems that 4 to 6 is kind of a good happy medium in terms of trying to have a target for you all to interview once you get to that point. Once you decide on those semifinalists, then that allows me to move forward with the backgrounds for the candidates, the reference calls. I do the reference calls myself. I don't assign those to somebody else. I've always done that. I've always felt like the reference calls were a part of the screening process, and I really want to talk to the references myself. I don't want somebody just telling me what they said. I like to hear from the references directly what the answers to the questions are. The questions that we ask, again, are oriented around the profile, trying to make sure that we understand that the candidate's background fits with this profile. I know you've all been through a process where you've interviewed somebody, and as they've walked out the door, you've had a little question rattling around in your brain, and that little question is, I wonder if I've been watching a performance or whether I saw the real person. The only way I know to answer that question is to talk to other people about the backgrounds of the applicants. And so I asked for 10 references. I want to make sure that we get a good set of reference questions from those applicants. This disclosure here, just to let you know, as we're going through the screening process, I will disclose to you if there's any previous involvement that I've had with the applicants, whether they've been a finalist for me, whether they some cases maybe worked for me back years ago when I was in city management. I don't have any business relationships right now with anybody that would be considered to be a potential applicant for this particular position. I was already going through this one. We also have available Pinkerton Consulting and Investigations. I have an arrangement with them, and they're able to do court records, driver's license, education verification, and even social media activities to make sure that the council has a full view of the backgrounds of the applicants that you would be interviewing here. Once we get to the final interviews, final step in the process, invite the candidates to Paris to be interviewed. I would provide for you a book of information on the finalists. The book would include the resumes of all the finalists. It includes the questionnaires that the finalists have completed. It includes my interview notes from the interview that I conduct with the finalists on the telephone, and then it also includes the reference notes so that you have all that material available to you as you're preparing for the interviews with the applicants. I will provide you also with a set of suggested questions. I always tell the council I have no pride in authorship. You can add, subtract, et cetera, to that list, but at least I'll give you a starting point of questions that you might ask to the candidates in the interviews. Once you've completed the interviews, if you are prepared to make an offer to someone, I'm prepared to be the broker for that and be happy to be the negotiator between the city council and the applicant that you select in terms of the salary and salary and benefits and other items that would go into the employment agreement. I do offer a three-way guarantee as part of my base proposal. I will stay with the project until you make an appointment for the fixed fee that we stated in the proposal. That means if you go through that initial set of interviews and for whatever reasons you're not able to make an appointment out of that group of interviews, then I will begin to regenerate another group of finalists for the council to interview. Again, for the same fixed fee, we only ask that you reimburse us for any out-of-pocket expenses that we might incur. I also agree that I will not solicit anybody selected from a search that I do as long as that person works for the city of Paris. I know there are different arrangements for that. This is the one that I've always used and would continue to use. And then the final part of the guarantee is if the person selected resigns or is terminated within 12 months of appointment, we will do a second search for that no base fee, but only with reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenses. Why me? I understand Texas local government. I understand this situation. I was involved in a search in Paris back in 2010, I think, and would be very excited to be involved with you in this particular decision. I think we can present the city and the community as a good opportunity, not only for a position for that person, but also as a great family opportunity. Previous clients have commented that I have an ability to understand a community, understand the culture in the community and the organization, and then am able to find candidates who will fit that culture. I am proud of the longevity of the candidates that we have been able to place in cities around the state. And then I also get regularly positive feedback from unsuccessful candidates who compliment me on the way that we treat candidates and the thoroughness and professionalism of our process. Again, we would be excited and proud to assist the City Council in this most important decision. Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir. How large is your company? How many people do you employ? Tell me about that. How long have you been in business?
Been in business for 10 years, and I'm it.
Okay.
I have clerical staff that I have available through Regis Office Systems in my Arlington office, but I'm the consultant, and I would be involved in doing all of the work with the council and consulting on this particular engagement.
And what's your track record in the state of Texas for city managers? I mean, how many have you placed in the last 10 years? Ballpark.
Over 60, probably. There are 14 city managers in Texas right now that are a result of searches that I've done.
Anyone have any questions?
How many clients do you take it, since it's just you at one specific time?
Typically 4 to 5 to 6 for search clients. And I'm not at that level right now.
Who are you searching for now?
I have a search underway for the city of Copperas Cove, and I have been hired. We haven't completed the contracts for another search for a city manager.
Along with the background information, do you include their evaluations from previous cities? And do you include a criminal background check or financial credit score type?
The Pinkerton can do does do the court records and driver's license. They do the counties, last 7 years, the counties that the person has lived in and the states that the person has been involved with. They can do credit checks. There's some things you have to do to get to that point, but they do have the ability to do that if the council desires that you want that done. In terms of, I'm sorry, what was the other part of that question?
Criminal,
Yeah, criminal, they can do the court records and that sort of thing, yes.
okay.
She also asked about the evaluations, which are
Oh,
public, about freedom of information.
You can get those if you can do open records request to get the evaluations for that.
Because I think that really goes along with what you said as far as an indicator of success is how they've performed in the previous jobs. Will you be going to TML and ICMA? And, you know, if we chose you, even though we might not have our questionnaires and that sort of thing yet, would you be pushing Paris to people you know?
Yes, yeah, I've typically gone to TCMA or TML, which is coming up, I guess, in a week or so,
Real soon.
yeah.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir, for your presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, the
Next,
second
we have
person is.
Slavin Management.
Yeah. let me
We'll
give
get him. Slavin Management.
Weird name. Can't remember that.
Let me get you pulled up here. Sorry.
He's, yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No,
No.
thank you. No, they're not here, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rings, okay.
All right, are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm Dave Krings from Slavin Management Consultants. Bob Slavin expresses his regret that he couldn't make it, but he has a wedding in his family that's going on, and his desire to be here got vetoed. And,
I can't hear you. Can you
Oh,
speak
I'm
up a
sorry.
little bit, please?
all right,
Thank you.
I'm not Bob Slavin. I almost was in a position too where I had difficulty getting here because my wife and I have our youngest daughter, our baby, is giving us our first grandchildren this week. In fact, I got a text from her, from my daughter on the way down here, that she will be having her boy and her girl on Friday. So I'm definitely going to be back home by Friday. So anyway, thank you. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to make the presentation to you. Oh, gosh, it worked. Okay. Slavin Management Consultants has been around for about 30 years in the form of Bob Slavin and in various iterations of that corporation. Bob also has about 5 years experience prior to that with a firm called Korn Ferry, which does both private and public recruitment. They're based out in California. The firm has done HR-related things, such as pay and classification studies, performance appraisal systems, and organizational studies. But the prime focus by overwhelming majority of our work is in recruitment. And later in the presentation, and in fact in the proposal, you have a list of specific Texas jurisdictions where we've done city manager searches. The firm is headquartered in Norcross, Georgia, and that's just outside of Atlanta. But our project team for this type of work, we're located in various locations throughout the country. For example, I came in from Cincinnati today. When you're doing a national search and you're close to an airport, it doesn't make much difference which airport you're close to. Now, in other interviews I've had with various jurisdictions, including Texas jurisdictions, that comes up, well, because you're in Cincinnati, how do you know the Texas city managers or people in the public sector? Well, I know them. I know many of them. I can't say I know all of them. But I was once president of the International City County Management Association, which is the professional association where people like Gene and I and city and county managers from around the world belong to. We also, because we do a national search, we get candidates applying for jobs all over the country. Not all of those candidates get the position that we're recruiting for, but they're still quality candidates. And so we have that background, that group of people that we know are good and we know they're available. We also are proud of the fact that about 95% of our placements have stayed in their position for more than 5 years. And we're even more proud that at 25%, and I think it's a little bit higher now, 25% of our placements, roughly, are members of minority groups or women candidates. One of the changes in the profession is that there are a lot more women candidates these days than there were back 30 years ago when we started, when Bob started. I've been with the firm almost 15 years now doing recruitments. Bob more than doubles that record. Okay, well, that's just what I just said. 95% of our placements have stayed in positions more than 5 years, and we recruit women and minorities. All right, Bob will be the primary manager of this. I'll be assisting him along with Barbara Lipscomb. I mentioned Bob's background, having done recruitments for public sector specifically for 35 years. I've been a practitioner. I served in both city and county jurisdictions for, well, probably almost 30 years myself. Now, when I say county, I know that county in Texas means different things than county in other states. For example, in Virginia, Arlington County is the city for Arlington, Virginia. There are no city governments working with the county. In places like Ohio, where I most recently worked, many of the local services are provided through county government. County government also provides and is considered an arm of the state and provides a great deal of services. But the skills to be successful, whether you're city or county in places like that, are the same skills. And the folks that go back and forth between city and county management has become the rule these days as opposed to the exception. Now there's a list of the Texas cities that we've worked in. I've personally worked with Corpus Christi, Corinth, and right now we're working in Laredo. Corpus Christi we just finished up a few weeks ago. Bob has worked with all of these places. Barbara has a fairly long career in local government management, but she's new to the firm. She's been with the firm maybe 6 months now. Still, she has the contacts and understands how to do the recruiting. Now we've got this results-oriented process. This is in your best interest as well as ours. One thing we do that I think sets us apart from at least some of our competitors is that we give a 2-year guarantee. We bring you a person, you decide to hire that person. If for any reason that person leaves within that 2-year period, we'll do the recruitment over again. We'll charge you for our expenses, but we won't charge you for our time. We'll do it over again. And that means, when we say any reason, we mean any reason. One of the first, we've had, I believe, 4 of them over the 30-year period. The one that's most significant to me was one in where the fellow was a friend of mine, and we placed this fellow with a county in Illinois, and shortly after we placed him, he got cancer and died. Well, we did that search over again because we don't try to specify what reasons something happens. We give that firm guarantee. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean we want to do it over again. That means we want to get it right the first time. Now, if I go out and try to recruit somebody based on what my preferences are, the odds of not working out are magnified. That's why we ask that we have an opportunity to have a one-on-one meeting with each one of you to find out in some detail exactly what you're looking for in a manager. If what you're looking for is a command and control kind of person, and we bring you a collaborative kind of person, that's not going to work out, or vice versa. Or if you want specific skills, say economic development or whatever things that are causing you pain that you need to have addressed, all right, we'll go out and find the person or people for you to consider that have those specific skills. We'd also like to deal with you collectively. At various times during the recruitment process, we'll come and let you know how the process is going, specifically when we have semifinalists. That is, you say we get, 30, 40 applications. We'll winnow that down to maybe 14 or 15, people that we think, on paper anyway, meet the qualifications that you set. We'll come to you and work with you collectively to try to narrow that down to a reasonable number for interview. Once that reasonable number is set, we do something that, I don't know of other firms that do this. There may be, but I think it sets us apart from at least some of our competition. We physically go to where those people are now. I can't tell by looking at a resume how people relate to their staff. I can't tell how they're regarded in the community. If I go to where they are right now, assuming they're still employed, and I go to lunch with the person and community members come up and start asking questions and start relating to that manager, that tells me something. If I walk through City Hall with that person and the staff people seem reluctant to talk to that person, well, that tells me something about that person. And I can get, a better feel for how that person meets what you want. Not what I think is appropriate, but what you want. Now, we do all the traditional background searches that I think probably any of the search firms that you're dealing with do. We check the criminal records, we check the what do you call it, whether they have any bad debts or anything like that. We check the educational things. If the person says that he or she has a master's degree or something like that, we'll check and confirm it. But again, I don't know that really sets us apart from the other firms. I think we all do that. All right, once you make your decision as to who you would like working with you, and today most every jurisdiction we deal with puts down the terms of what's expected of the candidate and what the candidate expects of the governing board in an employment agreement. Now, some places want that to be handled primarily, if not solely, by the city attorney. That's fine. We're available to consult with the city attorney. In other places, they want us to prepare a draft employment agreement and submit it to y'all. Yep, we'll do that. Other places just want us to butt out. Okay, we'll do that too. But it's up to the client, and we're perfectly willing to do that. As an adjunct to that, some places want us to work with the candidate once they're selected to develop the initial performance goals. After 1 year, we expect you to have accomplished this, this, and this. Well, we don't know what this, and this is. Some of that was going to come out in our discussions with you individually. And some of that we'll be sharing with the candidates because it's important for the candidates to know what would be expected of them. Not in a whole lot of detail, but at least generally. Okay, we're committed to your success. And of course, we have an idea of how much time it takes to do the recruitment. But sometimes not often, but sometimes, the council simply, for whatever reason, cannot settle on a candidate. Well, if that happens, we'll continue working with you. Whether we're technically required under the contract or not, we'll work with you until a candidate that's acceptable to you all collectively, and the candidate agrees, regardless of how long it takes. Again, that doesn't happen often, but it does happen from time to time. Another guarantee we give is that we will not recruit other Paris employees for at least 2 years. Now, if a month after the new person is on board, Gene calls us and says, I sure would like to work for Laredo or wherever. Well, we're not going to bar him from applying. I don't know that we could bar him from applying, but we're not going to go out of our way to recruit him for at least 2 years. Now, the amount of time it takes to do this, well, typically it's 90 days. The things that take time is, frankly, scheduling meeting with the council takes time. Doing the background work takes time. We will be supplying you with more than just a resume. We ask the finalist candidates to respond to a questionnaire. And that questionnaire is designed to do two things. One, it gives you an idea of how this person sees him or herself meeting the goals and meeting the description that you've told us that you want in the next city manager. We'll make sure that that's presented. But even more importantly, I have never run into a council that really wasn't concerned about the ability to communicate, especially communicate with the written word. So you'll see not only what this person says, but how this person says it. And you'll get the written report, you'll get the resume, you'll get our background checks, you'll get the report on us and on our site visit, and you'll have a pretty sure a picture of just exactly what we're providing you and how that meets the profile that we previously got your approval on. Okay, project costs. All right. Okay. Our fees, $15,420, regardless of how long this takes us, how much effort it takes from us. We have not to exceed expenses. Depending on how many times we come down here, I think it's pretty easy to get here, frankly. I flew into DFW this morning. It wasn't terribly expensive. I'm not anticipating that we would be hitting that. But we think it's in your best interest that we put a cap on it. If the expenses happen to go over that, then we eat it. So it really is, you pay the actual amount. The only things that are not in there is the cost on the candidates. If the candidates travel here, normally that's reimbursed by the community, and that's not included in our expenses. That would be up to you all. And some jurisdictions, when they've got the finalists, they'll bring in the spouse, and sometimes the spouse and the children. As frankly, the spouse generally has a veto over accepting any job offer. And you know, we recommend that be done, but that's on your dime. And, okay, I did my best to explain what we do and how we do it. I'd be happy to take any questions or criticisms or whatever you have.
Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, how big was y'all's staff?
I'm sorry, what?
How big is your staff, or how big is the company, I guess?
Okay, a full-time staff is less than a dozen, and those are the ones who work in the office and do the background work, but the back office stuff, that's in Georgia. Then there's you know, about 9 or 10 of us based around the country, and we come in as needed. You know, right now we've got, you know, the 3 of us assigned, or will be assigned, to serve Paris. I anticipate that will be adequate. Where it comes in having the people across the country is if, okay, say you have an interest in somebody in Colorado. Okay, well, we've got a person in Colorado, and we say, check this person out for us, so we don't have to go back and forth and do that checking. So I think that does it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Thank you.
This is just a statistic. I'm curious about credentialed managers. What percentage now of across the United States, how many managers have attained that level?
Gosh, you know, I was president of ICMA when we started doing that, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. I would, you know, I'm just pulling out of the air. I think it's probably 80% or more by
Really?
now. Yeah, it's at least the ones that apply to us. Now, sometimes they'll, for example, if you know, there are credentials. If we bring in a finance person, they may well not have the ICMA credential, but they'll have the Government Finance Officers Association credential, or a planning person. There's you know, when I say 80%, I mean I certified by somebody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, well, thank you then, sir, for your presentation. We appreciate it, and I guess we have some discussion to do here.
Okay. You prefer that I make myself scarce?
Doesn't matter. So you're the regional director for the Midwest. What does that entail?
The Midwest is what Bob Slavin says it is.
Okay.
You know, I've done a fair amount of Texas work, and you know, and I've done along the East Coast, and I've done as far west as Colorado. So, you know, I've got to give myself a different title because I'm far more than the Midwest jurisdiction.
You're the only one of the firms that didn't have a physical presence in Paris as I read this. I mean, in Paris, I mean in Texas, as I read this, but you're viewing that's not really a problem because you would fly into DFW or whatever
yeah.
as needed.
If you were looking for, specifically, you want to really get somebody out of North Texas, well, then you can get a small local-based firm because, you know, to do that. But if you want a true national search to come back with the skills that you're looking for, well, then you should get a national firm, and the national firms are based, you know, throughout the country. As far as you know, our performance in Texas, you've got a list of places where we've worked, and we're giving you that list. In fact, in the proposal, we have a list of clients from around the country. Call them. Ask them. You know, we'll do the job.
And y'all will be at the conferences that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. TML, what were they?
ICMA.
ICMA's in Nashville, and
20th.
being a former president, and you're walking around the halls, and people are going like, that is kind of nice. I like doing that.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you again for your presentation, sir. Thank you.
Russ, if you don't mind, I'll sit in the audience.
Sure, no problem at
Okay.
all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And if something comes up, I've given you my card. And whether you select us or not, if you've got, want to bounce something off, feel free to call. I don't always get back within 15 minutes, but I always get back.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I think we kind of probably need to make a decision tonight if we've got enough information.
I agree.
I agree too.
Are there any,
I thought all four were really qualified, in my opinion. Baker Tilly's my number one, and Slavin's my number two, and that may be totally wrong, but that's, and not just the interviews, but what I've read through their, both have some, both were Korn Ferry, either worked there or had some consulting they've done with that. It's a pretty distinguished firm. They're not the most expensive. I'm sure Ralph Anderson, and I read their stuff, but I didn't, they were a little more larger city to me. They're probably was qualified. I'm not saying they're not, but, and that may be wrong. I was going to ask Paula's opinion on that as well.
I agree. I think my priorities are probably along the same lines as Mr. Pilgrim. I like that Baker Tilly, their personnel have done all different sizes of cities like Kaufman, Weatherford, which is used to be about the same size as Paris. I think it's because it's on an interstate, outgrown us.
I noticed recently they done Commerce
Yeah.
and Norman, Oklahoma. Now that's two totally different things,
Yeah.
but that is a pretty good spread of 100 and
which company did that? I'm sorry.
Baker Tilly.
Baker Tilly, okay.
And that was 150 or 70,000 people, and then of course Commerce is like 8,500. So
Yeah, and I'm agree with Clayton. I had already kind of ranked these firms, and again, they all did good. They all gave a good presentation, and they kind of say the same thing. There's subtle differences in them, the sizes of the companies, whether they're in Texas or whether they're more national. I had already kind of come to the conclusion number one and number two were going to be Baker Tilly and Slavin. After I looked at it, and I was kind of 50-50 on that as well after your presentation. Those were my top choices as well. So,
Well, I kind of like the two presentations we got tonight. I did. I liked those two.
yeah, my problem with Mr. Hartung was a one-man company. I mean, that kind of bothered me a little.
he was qualified to me. That was my
Yeah,
drawback
yeah.
with
Yeah,
his
but he
operation.
had a lot of contacts too.
And I telephoned both Mr. Rohr and Ms. Wilson today and talked to them a little bit, let them know we're probably making our decision, and had a little more follow-up with them. That they're both very nice people, very different.
Right, right. I liked both. I liked those as well.
Very, very different. But, anyway, you got any input there, sir?
I, of course, looking at price, I mean, and like you said, all the groups are offering about the same thing. So, I mean, it's a crapshoot of who you're gonna get that has the best candidate. So, the Mercer Group had a great presentation, plus their price is, of course, if we're going on that, is the cheapest. But Slavin Management, I did love his presentation and the things that he said. So I would rate him my one and Mercer my two.
All right, any other comments, and how do we want to proceed? I knew it's going to be tough.
It is. I talked to the mayor a little bit about this. There's two sides to this type of search. There's how well a firm works with a council, and that's certainly foremost. But the other side is the candidates and what their experience have been with firms. Is it a firm that just kind of keeps a handful in their pocket and they present those pretty much to each city that they get? Or are they a firm that candidates know I'm going to have an equal chance? They're going to really see if I'm a fit. I don't want to just get them a manager. I want to get them the right manager. And I know through the profession that I know Mr. Rohr has that kind of respect from managers.
I spoke with Mr. Rohr today, and you know, he's been doing this for 35 years, and had 400 placements in the time he's been there at this company. Ms. Wilson has only been with the company since May, according to when I spoke with her today. So there's that. So.
Can we just do it like we do our committees? Just we each nominate.
Yeah, we can certainly do it that way, unless we kind of have a consensus for the top one or two, and then talk about the top one or not top two maybe. I don't know where we go. However you want to do it.
I'm in the direction of Baker Tilly, so I'll show you my cards.
Okay.
Mr. Rohr, that was Mr. Rohr?
Yeah. That was the first second presentation we had. Yeah. I'm kind of agreeing with Clayton. I like Baker Tilly. I did like your presentation, sir, and you would certainly be my second choice at this point. Very, very close.
Yeah, there's not huge margins between them.
No.
But they're slim margins. But I think for Baker Tilly, in my opinion, had the best product for what we're trying to put together.
I liked what Paula had to say too about the city manager's feeling towards the Baker Tilly group.
I mean, how do we know that if we hadn't talked to, how do we know
That
how someone else
resonated.
feels, though?
That resonated with me, Paula.
Thank you.
I mean, I understand what you said, Paula, but how do we know that? I mean, how do you know that information that city managers deal with him like that? I mean, I don't know the company
Because my
personally.
husband was a city manager.
Yes, well, your husband deals with it. Is that the one person, or you know someone else?
Well, it's a small family.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking, so
Yeah,
I
you
know.
So people talk.
Yes, I mean,
And I haven't heard anything negative about any of the companies that have presented. There are companies I've heard negative things about from city managers, but none that are candidates for us.
And I've heard good things about Ralph Anderson after talking with Paula too, but they didn't present, and it's difficult for me to
Yes,
pick
I
a company
wouldn't-
that
yeah.
didn't show up.
I think they're equally qualified,
Yeah.
but I just saw it seemed like a lot of their placements were City of Austin, City of McKinney, and although those are prestigious jobs, we're at 25,000 population. That was just my kind of thing, and I had seen.
Well, I'm getting the feeling there's a general consensus on the council for Baker Tilly. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Mr. Hughes, would you be all right with that, or?
I mean, I'm with the voting. I mean, if I'm outvoted, I'm outvoted.
Well, I know, but nonetheless.
Yes, no, I mean, like I
value
say,
your input.
the four people that presented all were wonderful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I loved, Mr., I don't want to say your name wrong. David, is your name?
Krantz.
Yeah, I loved his presentation
Yeah.
and the things he said, especially about the national, but I mean, and of course, I want to say the taxpayers' money, so it's not much difference in their price. So, I mean, he's my number one, but I'm fine with Baker Tilly.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we offer this job to Baker Tilly.
Second.
All in favor? And all opposed? Okay? All right.
I will contact them and
Begins.
get the process going.
All right, I guess that's it. Motion for adjournment.
That's so moved.